Hey guys, my name is Castle and I wanted to make a video on hand cannon reloader speed. Actually, just reload speed in general, like the mods, because the new season is coming out and I was kind of sitting there like, shit, my current artifact has that enhanced hand cannon reloader, right? Like Bungie just basically gave it to us for free. I've had a lot of amazing gear drop, like gauntlets that are solar or arc, that I've been able to put my hand cannon reloader on. But with the new season coming in, I won't be able to use those anymore, right? So I started to think like, well, should I balance out the total tiers for my character and then try and use a different reloader like the general light arms one? Or should I just stick to Void? I decided to make a video on it. You know, I didn't do it perfectly. This is the first time I've done like an analytical video like this. So I know I made a few mistakes when I started editing things. Without further ado, I'm going to jump right into it. Actually, I currently use Void gauntlets. I've had some pretty amazing solar and arc ones drop recently, like this one, for example. It's got, you can't see all the stats, but it's got, 60 base stats. It's all in mobility, recovery, like there's almost no resilience, so it's it's a youthful base stat. But with the new season coming up, I thought, well, there's no point in masterworking these because I can't use the artifact enhanced hand cannon reloader on him. So what I did is I tested out several guns, hand cannons and pulse rifles, with the various mods that they can have equipped on your gauntlets. And then I just kind of timed like how much difference are we really talking. I started off with the Thorn. I took everything off, just ran gauntlets with nothing on it. I'd hit reload, and while the reload animation was going on, I would hold down right click and just be spamming my left click, because basically, you know, I'm thinking, okay, if reload speed matters that much, the only time that it's really going to make a big difference is when I need to shoot immediately after reloading, right? Because we're talking like half a second difference between a lot of these things. Then I would go up to light arms loader right here, which, by the way, I thought this cost 5 units of my gloves because, you know, it works for multiple guns like hand cannons, sidearms, submachine guns, and bows. That's not the only reason. It's actually faster than the regular reload speed. Then enhanced hand cannon loader is a bit faster. So I went in that order for the gun. After I was done with the Thorn, I then went on to a spare rations. This spare rations has no reload masterwork, so I just wanted like a base reload. I tested another spare rations that does have reload masterwork, and I thought, yeah, okay, like so that increases the reload base number from 60 to 69 between those two spare rations. But I was kind of curious, do the mods have different impacts on guns that have different base stats, like base reload speed, for example? Finally, I went to Last Word. Just thought I'd try it because it's literally still a machine gun, and wanted to see. I actually only tested out one pulse rifle for now. I thought about doing more, but in reality, this is the only one that I'm currently using. It doesn't have a reload masterwork. I first started off with 0 with blank gauntlets. Then I went to pulse rifle loader, which is the next fastest. Then I went to, where is it? Rifle loader. So first and foremost, you know, when you have no mod at all, it was 2.9 seconds. With the hand cannon reloader, it's 2.5 seconds. So it's almost half a second faster when you look at it like this, but in reality, it was 350 milliseconds faster, which is about 12%. I would say that you do want some kind of reloader. But when you put on this light arms reloader, you know, this will allow you to use any other affinity. Like this will allow you to use solar or arc if you have amazing gauntlets, for example. You know, it does cost 2 more than the 3 regular, but you know, depending on what it is that you're trying to set up for your character, it's virtually the same. It was only faster by like 85 milliseconds, and I've rounded these to the nearest 5 milliseconds as well. Then you get to enhanced. Now this one, it did make a pretty noticeable difference. 2.2 seconds compared to 2.9. Now you're almost talking a full second difference, which is pretty huge. So like this is also the reason why I think like you cannot go without one, in my opinion. You really should have at least one of these. You know, a 23% increase in reload speed because it's 650 milliseconds faster. This makes it look like you should probably use this no matter what, right? Because it's just so much faster. But in reality, what you could do is look at your gameplay. You know, you could look at every time you died after reloading, for example, or every time you killed someone right after reloading, and really ask yourself, like, would I have lost that gunfight if I had to wait an extra 215 milliseconds, you know, 0.215 seconds? Would I have died? Maybe you would have, you know, with Destiny's tick rate and connection issues going on, maybe that turns into something larger. But either way, you know, those are the kinds of things that you want to think of. One more thing I wanted to show you was how each mod compares to the one prior to it. So, you know, the base is just the base. When you put on hand cannon reloader, you're going to see a 12% increase. When you put on a light arms loader, in comparison to a hand cannon loader, it's a little bit faster. So you do see a 3% increase. If that means you get to switch armor, that might be worth it. And then if you're kind of struggling, like, geez, I really want that fastest reload speed, well, then ask yourself this. You know, this is only 9% faster than this guy. So if you have awful void gauntlets and you have really good non-void like arc or solar gauntlets, I mean, 9%, it might not be worth it. You know, it really might not be what you need in terms of winning a gunfight or something like that. You know, sometimes you might find you need other stuff, like if you can get an entirely additional tier of recovery just to give up 0.2 seconds on your reload, that might be worth it. The base is 2.6 seconds. Next step up is 2.2. It was about 350 milliseconds faster, which is 14%. The next step up is 2.1, which is 415. And then enhanced had less of an impact on the spare rations than it did on the Thorn. Now, I could probably attribute that to my testing. You know, I didn't do this test 100 times for repeatability or anything like that. For example, I think the Thorn went up by 23%. And then here, I think on the Thorn, it was like 9% faster than the one before it. Again, to really do this perfectly, you'd want to do like 10 or 20 tests for repeatability, and then you'd find the average for all of them, so you really have accurate results. I only did the test once, but it was enough for me to see, like, you know what, it does kind of vary from one gun to another. And in this case, if I'm going to use my spare rations, like I really don't think I'm going to notice the difference between 415 milliseconds and 535. So if I have much better gauntlets that are non-void, you know, I'll feel fine using them. Not only is the last word a freaking machine gun, but it also reloads insanely fast. And because it's such a fast or quick base reload speed, the difference is when you're putting on these hand cannon reloaders are incrementally less and less significant compared to slower reload speed hand cannons. Like, I'm sure if you picked up, what's that dog shit gun? The Duke? If you were to reload that gun, these mods would make a much bigger impact. The enhanced hand cannon reloader, in this case, helped by 415 milliseconds, whereas I think on the very first, on the Thorn, it was like 635 milliseconds, right? So the amount that it helped on the Thorn was a lot more than on the last word. One thing I wanted to point out was actually the fact that I record in 60 frames per second. So when I was counting these reload times, you know, I was counting frame by frame by frame, and there's a certain amount of milliseconds per frame. Now, if you were playing at 240 frames per second, you might see a visual difference. Like, this guy might actually finish reloading and show you that it's done reloading slightly faster. Even at that, it's slightly different between these two. I was kind of curious, like, does the reload Masterwork, since it makes the reload faster, similar to the last word, how it has a faster base, maybe it matters even less for me because of my compressed reload time. So here are the numbers on this spare rations. I think the original spare rations was 2.6. My reload Masterwork made it 2.4 here. The next up was a regular hand cannon reload mod, 2.1. This guy was 2.0. It resulted in 365. This one was just rounding high, and this one was rounding low. And then the hand cannon, the enhanced hand cannon reloader, was 1.9 seconds, which was 22%. Only plus 7% from this guy to this guy. That's really what we're after here in this video. 515 milliseconds compared to 365. Again, if I watched all my VODs, did I die? Did I lose a fight because of that 0.15? Probably losing more fights because I'm not 3-tapping. Not necessarily due to this. I hate scout rifles beyond belief. But I did love Hawksaw, and I did love the grasp in D1. So I do still enjoy using pulse rifles. And the Claws of the Wolf is a pretty good one. So that's why I did it on this one. 2.4 seconds to reload the base. Note that this one doesn't have an enhanced pulse rifle reloader. I don't know why they do that. I'm not really sure why they decided to have enhanced reloaders for some, but not all the rest. 2.4 to 2.0 seconds here difference. Now, just recognize, though, that this only costs 1. This isn't an artifact thing. This is always only going to cost 1 on arc, whereas this one's going to cost 5. If your best gauntlets are arc, then you're lucky because you only have to use 1 unit when you're upgrading or when you're applying mods to your armor. But if you don't have arc or you have a way better gauntlets that aren't arc, you're completely fine. Just use whatever you want and apply this. I would recommend that you apply recovery, which is 4, plus one of these, which is 5. So, that's still only 9 out of 10. So you should always be able to do this. I know a lot of people like to use fastball and stuff too, but in my opinion, if you can get better stats, you might not need it. I hope you guys found that helpful. It's helped me make my decision for the new season on what I'm going to do. If I get a new piece of armor, I'm not going to just dismantle it right away. I'm actually going to think about it. If you did enjoy the video and you did find it helpful, please let me know in the comments. Feedback is one of the biggest ways to improve. And if you didn't like it, well, you know what? You can just stop watching, I guess, can't you? In all seriousness, though, if you did like it, drop a like. It really does help the videos. I'm going to start posting more often to try and help grow my brand on Twitch as well as YouTube. But obviously no obligations, and hope to catch you soon. I'm one of those streams way down on the directory, but you know what I mean? I'm trying to climb my way up. I'm trying to climb my way up, trying to say, hey,